So we're going to get a quick video here on how to CAD a rocket up. This is my 3D printed rocket, open rocket, as you can see. We're going to start right off. So first thing you have to CAD is the body tube, of course. Let's check how long this is, 4 inches. ID 0.709, 0.1 wall thickness is what everything's going to be. So just go right over here to CAD, and like most of you have done, get going on these sketches. Make a sketch for the base of the body tube, which is going to be just 2 concentric circles. We're going to talk about a little bit about 3D printing here though. And so what we want to do is this middle circle is the inner diameter, and it's going to have to match the rocket motor, which is 0.709. But if we 3D print exactly that, the motor probably won't fit. So we got to use tolerancing and tolerance it a little bit. So a good tolerance we think is about 10 thousandths on the diameter. So I'm going to make the inner diameter 0.719, slightly oversized. That way the rocket motor should fit right in there. But I still want the wall thickness to be the same. I don't care too much about the outer diameter for this rocket. And then that's going to be 0.1 inches right there. So I'll dimension that, and now we have them both up. We're going to exit this sketch and extrude that right up 4 inches. There we go. And now we'll start working on the fins. So the fins, we're going to start on the top or the front plane right here, one of these perpendicular ones. And I'm just going to draw, see I have swept fins. So I'm going to just draw a rough outline and then dimension them to get them all set up. I got this, start a sketch on the front plane, get a line going, and then straight from this corner. So first one, snap this one to vertical, right there. Go back to this outer diameter, and then I'm going to do fin tabs, and you'll see why we need those later when we extrude the fins out. So that's what's called a fin tab, is going inside the body a little bit. And now I got to dimension these up. So if we go back to open rocket, we can click on our fins and see we got root chord 2 inches, tip chord 1.5, height 1.5. So that's what we'll start with. Root chord is, oops, got things selected. Root chord is that one right there. That's 2 inches. Tip chord is this one here, 1.5. And then our height is going to be from here to here, right along this, also at 1.5. And now, one more thing we're going to do is, right down here, we want this fin tab to just go to the inner diameter. So I'm going to select the edge of the fin tab, right here, that little dot, and I'm going to select this inner circle, and I'm going to put a relation called pierce. They're on different planes, so we have to use pierce, and that just sets those equal to each other. Alright, we're good on that. Now back to the fin. Oops, back to the fin. We need to dimension this. I'm going to dimension this angle up here. And you'll see why I do that in a second. I'm going to dimension this angle, and to do that I need a line to dimension against. So I'm going to use center line like we did in the homework and put a center line. Oops, I clicked on the wrong space a little bit. It wasn't on the dot. From this dot here to this dot here, just right along the outer diameter. And I'm going to dimension. Click this line, click the other line. And to get that dimension, we go to open rocket, and sweep angle is 49.4. So the sweep angle is actually from this horizontal line to here. So that angle right there is 49.4. So this one is going to be 90 minus 49.4, which should be 50.6. No, 40.6. And that should give us this. So one more consideration we have to take into account is that when we 3D print this, it's going to be upright. So it's going to be sitting on these fins. So we can't have a point on the bottom of these fins because then it will be sitting on a point and just won't print out properly. So I'm going to do, and I'm going to chop off the bottom of these fins. So I'm going to put a little horizontal line right here. Alright, and then I'm going to use trim entities right up here in the sketch bar, and it'll automatically go to power trim. So I just hold down my mouse and cut these off right here. Unfortunately, it does make things underdefined a little, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm just going to snap this and define this angle. And I'm just going to leave it the same. That's what it is. That's what it was before. I'm just going to leave it. Click enter. And then I'm going to define this length. You guys still got something selected. And I'm just going to define that as 0.375 inches. just 3/8 of an inch. And that should be good for our fin sketch. Everything's dimensioned. You got to have that little notch there. Fin tab is a good idea if you're doing it this way, because now we're going to go ahead and extrude it. So I'm going to select sketch 2 right there, features, extruded boss base. And now what I want to do is I want to go 0.1 inch. I'm going to have 0.1 inch fins, but I want to go mid-plane, so that way they're perfectly centered. So up here on the left, instead of blind, I want mid-plane, and that'll center them up. And now you can see the reason we have these fin tabs is so it goes into the body, and that way we don't get little gaps here where it's tangent. Because if we had, there we go, if it were just up to the thing, we'd have little gaps here between the outside of the body tube and the edge of the fin. So we got to extrude that. We're all set. And now we need 3 more fins? 3 more fins. 4 fin rocket. So I'll select my boss extrude right here, boss extrude 2, that's the fin. And then I'll go up to linear pattern, click the little arrow and go to circular pattern. I have to choose where to pattern it, so I'll pattern it around the body tube. And you can see equal spacing, 360 degrees, and 4 of them. So that's good. Click OK. We've got our fins. The last thing we have to do on this segment, on the fin can, since you can see that my rocket is going to be fin can, body tube, nose cone, is we need to put this bulkhead in. So to put this bulkhead in, I want to leave the motor sticking out a little so I can pull it out easily once we're done launching these bad boys. So I'm not sure how long the motor is, so I'm just going to go to our assignment sheet where I added these nifty tolerances and dimensions that might come in handy. Motor length is 2.7559. So I'm going to let mine stick out about 1/4 inch and just make this a clean 2.5 inches above the bottom. So this bottom of the bulkhead will be 2.5 inches from the bottom. So I need to sketch in here somehow 2.5 inches from the bottom. So I'm going to use what's called a reference plane. So up here in the top features bar, you go reference, plane, and now we can just insert a plane. So I want it to be parallel to the top plane, which is right on the bottom. See, that's the top plane, right on the bottom of the rocket. I want it to be parallel, and I'm going to offset it, right here, offset it by 2.5 inches. If you're offsetting the wrong direction, you can just click flip offset. We're in the right direction. Now I have this plane right at the base of my bulkhead, or my thrust ring, or whatever it's called. So I've set that. Now I have this plane. I selected the plane on the left. It's highlighted. And I'm going to go ahead and make a sketch on that plane. I'm going to look from the top and just make a quick sketch. I want like a little donut shape, but I want the outside to be the exact same as this inside diameter because I want them to be one piece, so they want to be touching. So I'm just going to draw the middle one. And then on here, I believe I should be able to click on this inside one, but since it's in a feature that's not on the plane, I can use the Convert Entities button, and it now makes it part of my sketch. So I converted it from a body that's not in the sketch into a line on the sketch. And then we're going to dimension this guy to, we'll do 0.5 inches. It needs to have a hole in the middle for the ejection charge to come through. That way when the ejection charge goes off, it'll blow right through it. So now we have to extrude the centering ring. So we exit our sketch, select sketch 3, and we're just going to do the same thing, extruded boss base. I'm going to extrude it up 0.125, 1/8 of an inch, and it should be good to go right here. So now we have our centering, our bulkhead, we have our fins, for the whole fin can done. Next thing we have to do is we have to do this body tube and the little shoulder that connects. So I'm going to start out with just the main body tube, or I want to talk a little bit about this. So this shoulder has to fit on the inner diameter of the fin can, right? It's going to slide in there. But for tolerancing's sake, we need it to be a little bit small, just like how the motor fits. So these need to be 10th thou different. So if the inner diameter of this one is 0.719, I need the outer diameter of this shoulder to be 0.709, slightly smaller so there's room for it to fit. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a new part. If it open up. And I'm going to start on the top plane, and I'm going to start with that shoulder piece. So I'm going to sketch and make a circle, and so we want the outer diameter. We want the outer diameter to be outer diameter is 0.709, and then the inner diameter will just be a tenth of an inch less than that. So go ahead and smart dimension. Oh no, too quick. Gotta delete this dimension. It doesn't want to delete. Don't delete me. There we go. Right click. Gotta get the outside to 0.709. And then we're gonna make dimension from there to there, make that 0.1. Alright, so that's good. And we're gonna go ahead and extrude that up. This is just the shoulder. So I'm going to have it go 3/4 of an inch. It'll go 1/2 inch into the fin can, and then it'll extend 1/4 of an inch into our body tube. So 0.75 inches. And now I'm going to go ahead and sketch on this plane right here, right on the top. And I'm going to click sketch. You can just choose any surface to sketch on if you want it to be on that. And just like we did before, I want the outer diameter to be the inner diameter of our body tube. So I'll go ahead and click it and click convert entities. Ooh. Maybe. Here we go. Sketch. I wasn't in the sketch. Hopefully this works. Click here and click convert entities. There we go. And now I'm going to make one more circle on the outside. Maybe. Circle. Draw on the outside. And I'm going to dimension that guy to the same as the outer diameter of our fin can, because we want it to be one smooth surface. We don't want steps on the outside of a rocket. So that was 0.819 inches. Was it 0.7? It was 0.919 inches. 0.719 plus 0.1 wall thickness on either side. So we now have that. We got our sketch. Go ahead and exit sketch. And we're going to extrude that up. This is 4 inches total length. So what we want to do is we're going to go in here, select our sketch, extruded boss base. We're actually going to go up. You can see that if we did this like this, there'd be an infinitely small part that's connecting them. They wouldn't really be connected on the edge. So we're going to have to go up 3.75. So everything except for 1/4 inch. And then we're actually going to go here to direction 2. And that'll extrude in the other direction, and we want to go down 0.25 and leave it just like that. That way they overlap, and it'll all be one continuous piece. So direction 2 just extrudes it also in the second direction, a different length. So now we're good with this. The one last thing we have to do on this piece is we're going to have to put in a little crossbar here to mount our parachute. So I'm just going to go in and go to front plane, turn my view around, and I'm just going to put in a little circle right on the bottom. I'm going to sketch it. Actually, I'm going to put in a rectangle. That way it's flat on the base. So I'm going to sketch a rectangle. I'm going to start it at the origin and go off. It'll be a little bit off center, which will be good because that way when the ejection charge and the hot gases from the black powder come out, it won't be a direct contact with this. It'll be a little bit off to the side, and hopefully it won't burn away. So I'm going to make this 0.15, and I'm also going to make this one 0.15, just kind of arbitrarily. Hopefully that's strong enough. It should be, I think. Our sketch is all good. Exit sketch. We have this sketch now. It's on the front plane, so it's in the middle here. You can kind of see it. It's gray. It's hard to see. I'll try and highlight these sides. There we go. Now it's all highlighted in the middle of the thing. So I'll go ahead and extrude boss base it. And I don't want it blind. I'm going to do up to surface. And I'm going to select this surface here. And then I'm also going to go direction 2 and do the same thing up to surface. And select the same surface. And now we should have that nice bar there that we can tie our parachute onto. That looks a little bit big. I'm going to go back and see that's our boss extrude base. I'm going to go right here and click right click, edit sketch. And then I'm just going to actually reduce these dimensions down. I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch. So I'll do 0.125 and this one also 0.125. I'm just kind of making up this bar dimensions as I go, so that's why it looked a little big to me. So that should be good. So now we have the body tube and the fin can. The one thing I forgot to put a launch slug. And if we look at this, our launch slug has to be at the center of gravity. So our launch slug is going to be like just above the fins here on the fin can. So I'll go back to our fin can. And one thing that you want to do is you want to make sure your launch lug is between your fins if you're doing it on the fin can. So I'm going to make another reference plane, and I'm going to set the first reference as this here. So I want it to be tangent to our face. See, now it's tangent on there. And our second reference will be the front plane. And I'm going to do not perpendicular because that'll make it on another fin, but I'm going to set an angle and set it, I'll just do 45. 135 works too, just for simplicity. 45-degree offset. So now it's tangent to our outer face, and it's right there on the, right there, 45 degrees between the fins. So now we have that one. So I'll go ahead and loop this model around. So we're looking right at plane 2, right between these two fins. And I'm going to sketch. I'm going to sketch a rectangle right here. And this one's going to be a little bit tricky to dimension, I think. I'm going to dimension it. I'll do 1 inch from the top. If you want, you can go into OpenRocket and see exactly how good that is. I'll do 0.375 inches that way, and I'm going to do 0.25 inches this side. Yep, that should be good. And then we have to dimension these bars right here. So hopefully, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension from this midpoint is what I want to do. I want to get this midpoint, and then I'm going to use, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I need to use something. I'll use a center line here. So I'll do a center line. Right here it should snap to this. Maybe. And then do that vertical. And now I'm going to snap this midpoint to the center line and make those coincident. And now we're all set. So that's good. We have a sketch, it's tangent. And I'm going to extrude that out. I'm going to extrude it, extruded boss base. I'll go 0.25, I'm going to do 0.15 inches that way. And then in direction 2, I have to go up to surface and go to the edge. That way we get it molded around there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little semicircle on the edge here. So I'm going to sketch on this plane. And I'm going to go back to sketch and make a center point arc. So I'm going to start the center point at the midpoint there. Make the radius just like that. And now the arc is going to be 180 degrees. And that is all set. Exit sketch. And then I'm going to extrude this down. Extruded boss base. Reverse direction, close. Oh, you know what? I never closed my sketch. So what I need to do is I need to go back here, edit sketch. I never drew the line across the bottom. So I need to draw this line here and make it a closed surface. So now I'm going to exit sketch, click on it again, extruded boss base, and I'm going to go, it's going the wrong direction, so I'll just click reverse direction right here next to blind. I'm going to go up to surface and click on this surface right here. That should be good. And now I need to do one last thing, which is cut the hole. The dimensions for the hole are in the document here. Inner diameter 0.15 inches. So back on my fin can, if it wants to load, there we go. I'm going to click on here, go to sketch, make a sketch on that body there. And I want to make a circle that is right here on that center. Go out. Smart dimension this guy just to 0.15 inches. That's all good. Okay, sketch done. Features, extruded cut. And then we're going to go up to surface and go right through this surface. So it goes right through that. And now we can see that we have our nice hole for our launch lug. We have our fins with their flat bottoms that go straight into the body tube. And then we have our body tube that has a shoulder with proper tolerancing, a thing to mount the parachute, and The nose cone will be in a separate video made by Caleb a long time ago. It's super sick how to make a nose cone, and you'll have to keep the tolerancing in mind when you do that as well. For now, good luck. Should be fun, I think, I hope. Oh well, see ya.